The sky over Varelia Prime burned a deep orange as though the planet itself were screaming. Smoke rose from the once proud human cities, curling high into the thin atmosphere. The alien ships, sleek and jagged, cut through the horizon like knives, their engines humming a sound humans would never forget. On the ground, buildings lay in ruins, streets cracked, and the air smelled of fire and scorched metal. In the midst of chaos, Captain Elias Vance crouched behind the remains of a fallen tower. His uniform was torn, his face streaked with ash, yet his eyes burned with determination. Around him, the few survivors of the human settlement scrambled, carrying what little weapons and supplies they had left. The aliens had laughed when they first saw the humans defending themselves with simple rifles and makeshift barricades. They had called them weak, fragile, and foolish. "They think this is over," Elias muttered to himself, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. He looked out over the battlefield. Alien drones hovered above, scanning for movement. Ships swooped low, dropping explosive charges that shattered walls and crushed vehicles. Human casualties were high, and for a moment, Elias felt the weight of despair pressing down on him. But it did not break him. From the smoke, a young soldier, Lieutenant Mara Chen, stumbled toward him, her arm bleeding from a gash near her shoulder. "Captain," she gasped. We lost the eastern districts. They're everywhere." Elias shook his head. "We haven't lost yet. Not while we still breathe. Get the survivors to the west tunnels. Move fast and stay low." Mara nodded, wincing in pain, but she followed his orders. Humans were running out of time, and the alien forces were confident. Every broadcast from the alien fleet was filled with mockery. "The humans fall easily," their loudspeakers declared. "Resistance is meaningless. Surrender or die," but humans did not surrender, not then, not ever. Elias turned to the small group gathered behind the rubble. They were exhausted, hungry, and scared, yet there was a spark in their eyes, a spark that refused to die. "Listen carefully," he said, raising his voice over the roar of distant explosions. "We are small now, yes. We are broken, yes, but we are not finished. We will survive this night and we will rise again. The aliens think they have won, but they do not know what humans are capable of." Silence followed, broken only by the distant thrum of alien engines, and then one by one, humans nodded, their faces hardening with resolve. The humans moved quickly through the shattered streets, using the ruined buildings as cover. They knew every alley, every tunnel, every abandoned bunker. What the aliens did not understand was that humans could adapt. They could hide, strike, and vanish into the shadows. And tonight, adaptation would be their only weapon. As Elias led his group through the ruins, he remembered the first day humans had set foot on Varelia Prime. They had come with hope and determination, believing they could create a new home among the stars. No one had imagined the alien coalition would strike so quickly, so brutally. The humans had been unprepared for the sheer scale of the attack. But unprepared did not mean powerless. By midnight, the small group reached the west tunnels, a network of old mining passages that now served as a temporary refuge. Inside, the air was damp and smelled of stone and earth, but it was safe from alien scanners. Humans collapsed onto the ground, catching their breath, tending to wounds, and sharing what little food and water remained. Elias knelt beside a small map laid out on the ground, marked with the locations of human settlements, alien patrols, and possible hiding spots. "We've lost the cities, yes," he said, tracing a finger along the routes the aliens had taken. "But we still control the tunnels, the hills, and the forests beyond the plains. They think they've destroyed us, but they haven't. And tonight we plan." A young technician, Jax Moreno, spoke up nervously. "Captain, we barely have weapons left. And the aliens, they're stronger. Their ships, their drones. We don't stand a chance." Elias looked at him with calm intensity. "It's not about standing a chance, Jax. It's about refusing to give up. We will not surrender. We will not run forever. Humans fight with more than just weapons. We fight with courage, with cunning, and with each other. That is something no alien machine can break." Outside the tunnels, the alien forces patrolled confidently, their laughter echoing through communication channels. "The humans are finished," one alien commander sneered, its voice sharp and metallic. "They hide like insects. Soon they will have no place to run." But deep in the tunnels, Elias and his team prepared. They gathered every scrap of technology they could find, repairing weapons and constructing traps. The humans worked tirelessly through the night, their hands black with soot, their muscles aching, their spirits driven by a single unyielding thought: Survival. Elias stood at the mouth of the tunnel, looking out toward the alien fleet glowing against the distant horizon. The ships were massive, armed with weapons humans could only dream of countering. Yet he felt no fear, only determination. "They laugh at us," he whispered. "They mock us. But they have not seen what humans can endure." Hours passed. The humans rested only briefly, their minds racing with plans, strategies, and what little hope they clung to. Outside, the alien fleet maintained its dominance, confident and cruel. But every step the humans took in the tunnels was a step toward survival. Every whispered conversation, every repaired weapon, every plan laid in the shadows was a seed of defiance. As the first light of the alien-controlled sun spread across the battlefield, Elias addressed his team once more. "Today we survive. Tomorrow we strike. They may have won the battle, but the war belongs to those who never quit. And humans, we do not quit." In the distance, alien laughter echoed across the smoking cities. Yet, in the tunnels beneath the ruined world, the humans' resolve only grew stronger. Captain Elias Vance looked around at his people, tired, scared, but unbroken. And in that moment, a silent promise formed among them all. They would rise from the smoke no matter the cost. The alien forces believed their victory was complete. They laughed in triumph. But they did not know that from the ashes a human spirit, undaunted, unyielding, and unstoppable, was already rising, and that rising would change everything. The tunnels beneath Viewership Prime were dark and damp, but to the humans hiding there they were a sanctuary. The air was thick with dust and the scent of stone, yet it carried something stronger, a sense of purpose. Captain Elias Vance moved among the survivors, checking wounds, distributing water, and offering quiet encouragement. Each human he saw, no matter how weary, was a reminder that they were still alive, and being alive meant they could fight back. Outside, the alien fleet gleamed in the sunlight, gliding over the ruined cities as if the world belonged to them. Their sensors scanned relentlessly, searching for even the smallest hint of human movement. But they did not understand the humans' resilience. They had judged humanity based on numbers, on firepower, on technology. They had laughed at what they saw as weakness, and that mistake would cost them. Elias gathered his officers in a small chamber deep within the tunnels. Lieutenant Mara Chen, still bandaged from her injuries, leaned over a map spread on a stone table. Jax Moreno, the young technician, adjusted his glasses as he studied a small device he had been repairing, an improvised scanner that could detect alien drones. "We have to move carefully," Elias said. "The aliens control the cities and the air. They expect us to hide. But we will not just hide. We will strike. And when we strike, we will hit where they least expect." Mara frowned. "Captain, our weapons are limited. We have small arms, a few explosives, and some captured drones. Against their ships and armies, we barely have a chance." Elias shook his head, his eyes sharp. "Mara, listen. This is not about brute force. This is about strategy, patience, and understanding our enemy. Humans are clever. We adapt. We think in ways machines and aliens cannot. That is our strength. Remember, survival is the first battle. Every small victory matters." He traced a finger along the tunnels that led toward abandoned alien outposts. "We will start small, disrupt supply lines, rescue anyone we can, gather intelligence. Every step we take will weaken them, confuse them, and prepare us for something bigger. We may be outgunned, but we are not outsmarted." The team worked tirelessly through the day. They repaired scavenged weapons, reinforced tunnels with debris, and set up hidden observation points. The humans were quiet, careful, but their movements were precise. Each small task carried the weight of hope, and they understood it. Every survivor counted. Every life saved was a victory in itself. By evening, Elias led a small squad toward one of the alien outposts near the ruined eastern districts. The alien guards were confident, thinking the humans would not dare approach. Their laughter echoed through the corridors of their command centers, mocking the humans hiding in the shadows. Elias and his team moved silently, using the ruins for cover. Mara led the way, her keen eyes spotting patrol patterns. Jax operated a small drone that zipped ahead, mapping the layout and detecting energy fields. Even the youngest humans displayed a level of courage and skill that surprised even themselves. When they reached the supply depot, Elias signaled to halt. They waited, counting the movements of the alien guards, noting the timing of their patrols. Then, with coordinated precision, they struck. Small explosive charges disabled communication relays. Drones captured from previous raids were reprogrammed to create confusion, buzzing past alien sentries. Within moments, the humans had neutralized the depot's defenses, seized supplies, and retreated into the shadows before the aliens could react. Back in the tunnels, the humans celebrated quietly. They distributed the stolen food, weapons, and medical supplies among the survivors. Each small success lifted spirits, reinforcing the belief that they were not powerless. They had survived the first night. Now they had a taste of victory. Elias addressed the team. "You see what we can do when we think, when we act, when we refuse to surrender. This is only the beginning. The aliens may control the skies, but they do not control our minds. And that is where we will win." Days turned into weeks. The humans continued their small, precise operations. They sabotaged supply lines, freed prisoners, and reclaimed hidden areas of the planet. Each mission was dangerous, but each success built their confidence. Word began to spread among alien ranks of the humans who could vanish like ghosts and strike without warning. One evening, as the humans rested in a hidden grove, Mara approached Elias. "Captain, do you think they will ever stop laughing? They always assume the humans will fail." Elias looked out over the forest, the alien sun casting long shadows through the trees. "Let them laugh," he said quietly. "Their laughter is a weakness. They underestimate us. Every time they do, it gives us an advantage. Remember, humans are not just survivors. We are thinkers, planners, and fighters. They may have power, but we have something they cannot predict: resilience." Meanwhile, the alien commanders began to notice strange patterns. Supply depots went missing, patrols were ambushed, and communications became unreliable. Panic began to ripple through their ranks, though they tried to hide it behind arrogance. "Humans are cleverer than expected," one commander admitted. "They adapt in ways our calculations did not foresee." Yet the aliens continued to laugh publicly, masking fear with mockery. They had not yet learned that humor cannot replace understanding. They had not yet learned that humans would rise from every setback. Elias and his team discovered an old alien observation tower. Using their ingenuity, they converted it into a command center of their own. From there, they could monitor alien movements, relay messages, and plan operations with increasing precision. Every piece of alien technology they adapted made them stronger. Every small victory fed their hope. The humans' determination began to attract others. Survivors from distant colonies arrived, inspired by stories of resistance. Their numbers slowly grew, and with them, the humans' confidence. Elias welcomed each new arrival, integrating them into the operations, showing them that survival depended on cooperation, ingenuity, and courage. In one daring night raid, the humans captured an alien communications relay. For the first time, they were able to listen to alien plans directly. The revelations were shocking. Aliens were overconfident, underestimating human resolve and often dismissing warnings from their own soldiers. Elias studied the information carefully. Every miscalculation, every assumption of human weakness became a weapon for the humans. "Every mistake they make," Elias said to Mara and Jax, "is an opportunity. They assume they are stronger than us. They assume we are weak. They assume they control the future. But humans, we shape our own destiny. And it starts here, in the shadows." The humans trained relentlessly. Every day was a challenge. Food was scarce, danger lurked outside, and injuries were frequent, but they pressed on. Children learned to move silently through the tunnels. Adults repaired weapons and built traps. Everyone contributed, everyone mattered. It was not just a fight for survival. It was a fight to reclaim dignity, to prove that humans could endure, adapt, and overcome. One night, as the humans rested in their hidden grove, Elias looked at the stars above. Despite the destruction, the beauty of the cosmos remained. It reminded him why humans fought. Not for revenge, not for conquest, but for survival, for hope, for the right to exist and thrive. "We are small," he whispered, "but small does not mean weak. Humans endure, humans rise, and one day the smoke will clear, and the world will see what we are capable of." The alien fleet remained dominant above, yet the humans below were no longer just survivors. They were planners, strategists, and fighters with growing confidence. The seeds of rebellion had taken root, and each day the humans acted. The aliens' laughter rang hollow. And so, in the tunnels, hidden forests, and ruins of ViewershipPrime, humanity quietly but steadily began to rise. From the ashes of destroyed cities, from the shadow of alien superiority, a spark of defiance burned brighter than ever. Captain Elias Vance looked at his people, not soldiers, not heroes, just humans determined to survive. And he knew that the aliens had made their first mistake. They had laughed too soon, because humans never gave up. And that was the beginning of something the alien coalition would come to fear. The air over ViewershipPrime carried tension, thick as smoke from the ruined cities below. Humans moved cautiously through the forests and hills, ever watchful of alien patrols that still roamed the plains. Yet what the aliens did not understand was that humans did not act recklessly. Every movement was calculated, every step measured. For each attack they endured, the humans learned, adapted, and prepared their next strike. Captain Elias Vance stood atop a ridge overlooking a cluster of alien supply depots. He squinted against the harsh sun, noting the patterns of patrols, the timing of drone sweeps, and the placement of automated defenses. Beside him, Lieutenant Mara Chen held a small binocular device marking movements on a portable map. Jax Moreno, the young technician, checked a reconfigured drone, its sensors tuned to detect energy fluctuations. "The aliens are confident," Elias said quietly. "They believe they know us, but humans are not predictable." "And that is our advantage," Mara frowned. "Do you think we can hit all 3 depots in one night?" "It's risky. We're small in number and the patrols are heavy." Elias smiled faintly. "We're not hitting them all at once. That would be reckless. We strike in sequence, carefully, one step at a time. Timing is our weapon. Observation is our shield. Humans succeed because we think differently, not because we have superior firepower. Remember that." The plan was daring. A coordinated attack on 3 supply depots spread across the eastern plains. One team would strike at the northern depot, another at the central, and Elias would lead the final strike on the southern depot, which housed critical communications equipment. Every team moved through shadows, using tunnels, forests, and ruined buildings to remain hidden. As night fell, humans advanced silently. The northern team, led by Sergeant Rena Lopez, slipped past patrols and disabled security drones with small, precise EMP charges. Mara's team moved through the central depot's perimeter, using improvised traps to delay reinforcements. Each strike was quick, calculated, leaving minimal evidence of human presence but maximum disruption. Elias's team approached the southern depot, the heaviest guarded of the 3. Alien soldiers patrolled in disciplined patterns, confident that humans would not dare challenge them directly. Confidence, Elias knew, was a weakness. He and his team moved with the precision of shadows, disabling cameras, intercepting communications, and creating diversions that drew alien guards away from critical positions. Inside the depot, Elias placed small explosive charges on communication relays. The devices were not meant to destroy completely, only to disable temporarily and sow confusion. He checked the timer, then signaled to Mara's team. The northern and central teams initiated their diversions. Lights flickered, alarms sounded, and the aliens, thinking it was a coordinated attack from multiple directions, scrambled to respond. Humans struck and vanished. By the time alien reinforcements arrived, the depots were empty of humans but crippled in function. Supplies were missing, communications were interrupted, and the morale of the alien forces began to falter. For the first time, some aliens whispered fears of humans not as weaklings, but as cunning adversaries. Back in the tunnels, Elias studied the results. Each victory, no matter how small, shapes the battlefield. The aliens expect weakness. They expect us to crumble. But we adapt. We survive. And now they must think twice before underestimating us. Jack shook his head in disbelief. I can't believe it worked. They have all this technology. And we did this with our small team. Some scavenged tools and traps. Elias clapped him on the shoulder. Humans do more with less. That's our way. Technology is important, yes, but ingenuity, courage, and timing. Those are things they cannot calculate. The humans rested only briefly. Each strike taught them more about the aliens' patterns, weaknesses, and overconfidence. They began to plan larger missions, ones that would target not just supplies but key strategic positions. With every raid, more humans joined them, survivors from remote settlements, each bringing knowledge of the terrain and determination to fight back. In one daring mission, Mara led a team to intercept alien patrols carrying supplies to their forward base. The humans set up ambushes in narrow canyons, using the terrain to neutralize the aliens' technological advantage. Explosions echoed through the cliffs, sending patrols into disarray. By the time reinforcements arrived, the humans had vanished, leaving only chaos behind. Captain Elias realized that the humans' greatest weapon was not firepower, but unpredictability. The aliens had calculated their strategies based on expected human behavior: fear, retreat, surrender. But humans defied those expectations. Each human movement, each decision made under pressure was a statement. They would not bow, they would not give up, and they would not be predictable. The aliens began to take notice. For the first time, they convened meetings not to mock, but to strategize against humans. They are more dangerous than we thought, an alien commander admitted in low tones. Their numbers are small, but their actions are precise. We cannot underestimate them. Yet they continued to laugh publicly, masking their concern with arrogance. Their broadcast declared victory in cities they no longer fully controlled. Humans are clever but still weak, they said. They hide in shadows, but shadows cannot protect them forever. Elias and his team knew otherwise. Shadows were not just protection, they were opportunity. Using tunnels, forests, and ruins, humans planned the next phase of their counteroffensive, a strike on a major alien supply hub in the Central Plains. This would not just disrupt supplies, it would send a message. Humans were no longer hiding, they were striking. The day of the central strike arrived. Humans moved under the cover of darkness, coordinating with precision. Mara led a reconnaissance team ahead, noting patrol routes and weak points. Jax deployed drones to monitor energy fields and alert the team of incoming reinforcements. Elias oversaw the operation, his presence a calming force, reminding everyone that planning and courage were their best weapons. The strike was swift. Humans disabled power generators, captured supplies, and freed prisoners held for forced labor. Aliens scrambled, confused by the coordinated attacks from directions they did not expect. For every soldier sent to intercept, humans had already moved, leaving only the evidence of their clever tactics behind. By the time the sun rose over the plains, the humans had vanished again. The alien supply hub was crippled, morale shaken, and rumors of human cunning spread through the ranks. Whispers began to circulate. The humans, they do not fear. They adapt. They survive. They strike when least expected. Elias addressed his team later, back in their hidden base. Tonight was proof. Humans do not merely endure. We plan, we act, and we rise. The aliens laughed at us when they thought we were broken. But we are not broken. We are learning. We are growing, and soon, the tide will turn. Even among the survivors, hope began to shine brighter. They were no longer just escaping death, they were claiming victories, however small, that reshaped the battlefield. Every mission, every raid, every clever trap reminded them of who they were. Humans were not meant to be conquered. They were meant to endure, to adapt, to rise from even the most impossible situations. Outside, the alien forces grew uneasy. While they maintained dominance over the major cities, their control over the land and supply lines had weakened. Alien commanders debated strategies trying to predict human behavior, but their calculations failed again and again. Humans did not follow expectations. Humans did not surrender. Captain Elias stood on the ridge once more, looking out over the land that was both their prison and their battlefield. Smoke still rose from ruined cities, and alien ships glinted in the distance. But beneath the smoke, below the fire, humans were moving, surviving, and planning. From the shadows, they were becoming a force to be reckoned with. Elias spoke quietly, almost to himself. The aliens think this is the end for us. They laugh, they mock, they underestimate. But humans do not end, we rise. And one day we will show them what that truly means. The shadows of strategy were growing stronger. With each operation, humans gained confidence, skill, and allies. They began to understand the terrain better than the aliens, predict movements more accurately, and strike with increasing precision. From hiding in tunnels and forests, humans were shaping the battlefield on their terms. And far above, alien laughter still echoed, but it rang hollow. The humans' actions had begun to turn the tide, and the first real cracks in the aliens' confidence were forming. They had underestimated the smallest creatures in the galaxy, and those creatures were beginning to rise. The war was far from over. But for the first time, humanity was no longer just surviving. Humanity was striking, and when humans strike, the universe quickly learns that their spirit is impossible to contain. The smoke that had hung over Verelia Prime for months began to thin, revealing a battlefield transformed by human determination. What the aliens had thought was a broken and scattered enemy had grown into something far more dangerous. From hidden tunnels, ruined cities, and the forests that stretched across the plains, humans were no longer hiding. They were moving with precision, purpose, and growing confidence. Captain Elias Vance stood on a ridge overlooking the alien-controlled plains. His eyes swept over the distant patrols, supply convoys, and the heavily guarded communication towers. Today, he said quietly to himself, we take the fight to them, not just for survival, but to show them who we truly are. Lieutenant Mara Chen approached, her face lit with determination, despite the long nights and constant strain. Captain, the teams are ready. The traps are set. Supplies are in position. The humans, they're ready to strike, Elias nodded. Good. Then let's remind the aliens that numbers alone do not win wars. Humans have courage, ingenuity, and resolve. That is what they cannot predict. The plan was bold. Multiple human squads would launch coordinated strikes on key alien positions across the planet. One group would target supply depots to disrupt logistics. Another would strike communication hubs to sow confusion and delay reinforcements. Elias would lead the main assault on the Central Command Center, the heart of the alien operation. The goal was not simply to destroy, but to demonstrate that humans could challenge and even overpower the alien coalition. As night fell, the humans moved silently across the terrain. Mara led her reconnaissance team, scouting patrol routes and alerting squads to potential dangers. Jax Moreno operated drones that zipped ahead, sending live data back to Elias and the field commanders. Every movement was deliberate, every step measured. Humans had learned from previous strikes. They struck fast, then vanished, leaving confusion and fear behind. The first wave hit the northern supply depots. Humans disabled energy fields, sabotaged vehicles, and captured essential supplies. The alien patrols responded quickly, but human traps slowed them, forcing them to retreat or risk heavy losses. Each depot hit sent shockwaves through the alien ranks. For the first time, the aliens began to whisper unease among themselves. Meanwhile, Mara's team infiltrated the central communication hub. Using stealth and carefully timed distractions, they disrupted signals, intercepted transmissions, and delayed alien reinforcements. Alien commanders used to absolute control were suddenly blind to the battlefield. Panic spread quietly through their ranks, though they tried to maintain appearances. Finally, Elias and his squad approached the Central Command Center. Guarded heavily by both drones and soldiers, the center seemed impregnable. But Elias smiled faintly. Humans do not attack as they expect, he said. They rely on technology, but we rely on strategy and timing. That is where we win. The strike began with a diversion. Small explosions on the perimeter drew guards away. Then humans moved swiftly, using shadows, tunnels, and abandoned buildings to approach the main entrance. They disabled security systems with carefully improvised devices, slipping past the bulk of the defenses before the aliens even realized what was happening. Inside, Elias led his team through corridors filled with alien technology and patrols. Every step was calculated, every movement precise. They freed prisoners held for forced labor, secured critical data, and placed charges designed to disrupt key systems without destroying them completely. Humans struck with efficiency, leaving minimal traces but maximum impact. Outside, the alien fleet and ground forces scrambled to respond. Signals were jammed, reinforcements delayed, and communication breakdowns multiplied the confusion. For the first time, humans were not just surviving, they were dictating the flow of battle. The aliens' confidence, once unshakable, began to falter. In one dramatic moment, Mara's team encountered a squad of elite alien soldiers sent to reclaim the communication hub. What seemed like certain defeat turned into victory through human ingenuity. Using traps, misdirection, and quick thinking, the humans disabled the squad without significant losses, leaving the aliens stunned. News of these victories spread quickly among human units, boosting morale and determination. Back at the central command center, Elias paused at the main observation deck, looking out at the chaos below. Alien drones darted through the sky and patrols moved in disarray, unsure where humans might strike next. Elias knew that the tide had already begun to turn. The aliens had relied on fear, confidence, and technological superiority. But humans had shown that spirit, cunning, and adaptability could overcome any obstacle. By dawn, the strikes were complete. Supply depots lay in disarray, communication hubs were crippled, and key data had been secured by humans. Alien commanders convened urgently, their arrogance replaced by concern. The humans, they are stronger than we predicted, one admitted quietly. They strike in ways we cannot anticipate. We must rethink our strategies. Meanwhile, humans regrouped in hidden positions. Though exhausted, wounded, and hungry, they were triumphant. The tide of battle had shifted. They were no longer the hunted. They were the challengers, the force the aliens had underestimated. Captain Elias addressed the survivors. Today, he said, his voice carrying over the group, we showed the aliens that humans are not to be underestimated. They thought their laughter could break us. They thought fear would control us. But humans endure, adapt, and rise. This is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter. One where we fight not just to survive, but to reclaim our world. Jack, still operating drones, grinned. I can't believe how well it worked. Every plan, every trap, every distraction, it all came together. Elias nodded. And it will continue to come together, Jax. Every small victory teaches us something. Every mistake the aliens make is an opportunity. And soon we will not just strike from the shadows. Soon we will face them openly, knowing that courage and strategy are as powerful as any weapon. The aliens, once confident and mocking, were now uneasy. Reports of human strikes and tactical brilliance reached their higher command. We miscalculated, a commander admitted. They are not weak. They are unpredictable, and they are growing stronger. Despite the aliens' unease, humans did not celebrate excessively. They knew the battles ahead would be tougher, the risks higher, and the enemy more determined. But for the first time, they moved with the knowledge that they could challenge the strongest foes in the galaxy, and win. In hidden camps across forests and hills, humans tended to their wounded, repaired equipment, and planned the next phase. The victories had shown them that with courage, intelligence, and cooperation, they could change the course of the war. Each human, from the youngest scout to the experienced officers, understood that survival was only the first step. Triumph required boldness, persistence, and unity. Elias walked among his people, offering encouragement and guidance. He stopped at a small group of young soldiers. Remember this day, he said softly. Remember how fear turned into courage, how despair turned into action. Humans have risen from smoke before, and we will do it again. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to prove who we are. And we are human. And humans do not give up. As the sun rose over Veralia Prime, the smoke of ruined cities still lingered, but it no longer symbolized defeat. It was a reminder of resilience, of human ingenuity, and of a spirit that refused to be broken. Captain Elias looked to the horizon, knowing that this was only the beginning. The aliens may still control the skies, but humans now controlled the narrative of the battlefield. They laughed at us, Elias whispered, his eyes bright with determination. They mocked us. But the smoke hides a truth they cannot see. We rise from it stronger every day, and when we strike, it will be on our terms. The humans' victories had turned the tide. They had shown that courage, strategy, and ingenuity could overcome fear, overwhelming odds, and even superior technology. The aliens had learned to fear what they had once dismissed. And the humans, rising from the ashes and smoke, had proven that their spirit was unbreakable. For the first time, the alien forces saw that their triumph was not complete. The humans were no longer just survivors. They were warriors, strategists, and a force capable of challenging the galaxy's strongest. The stage was set for the final confrontation, a battle that would decide not only the fate of Aurelia Prime, but also the reputation of humanity across the stars. Captain Elias Vance stood tall, his people around him weary but unbroken. "The tide has turned," he said, looking to Mara, Jax, and the rest of his team. "But the war is not over. We fight, we rise, and we will continue until the smoke clears. And when it does, the galaxy will see the true strength of humanity." Above them, alien ships still patrolled, their laughter now tinged with unease. Below, humans moved with renewed purpose, their eyes set on a future they would shape themselves. From the ruins, the shadows, and the smoke, humanity had begun to rise, and the rising would not stop. The dawn over Aurelia Prime was unusual that day. Instead of the smoky haze that had long dominated the skies, the horizon was lit with the first signs of hope. Captain Elias Vance stood at the highest ridge overlooking the alien command center, a place that had once seemed untouchable. Now it was within reach, because humans had learned, adapted, and grown stronger with every challenge. "All units," Elias said, speaking into a communicator. "Today we end the reign of fear. Today we show the galaxy that humans do not break. Move carefully, strike precisely, and remember, we fight together. Every one of us matters. Every action counts." Lieutenant Mara Chen checked her squad. Her face, tired yet resolute, reflected the determination of every human present. "We've trained for this. We know the terrain, their patterns, and their weaknesses. This is our chance. Let's make it count." The plan was daring and unprecedented. Humans would launch a coordinated planetary assault, striking alien positions from multiple directions at the same time. Supply lines would be destroyed, communications jammed, and the command center itself would be breached. But this was not just a physical battle. It was a test of human spirit, courage, and ingenuity against overwhelming odds. At the first light, human squads moved. From the forests to the tunnels, from the hills to the ruins of cities, humans advanced with quiet precision. The alien forces, confident in their superiority, did not anticipate the scale or coordination of the human effort. Patrols were ambushed, supply convoys intercepted, and drones disrupted by clever traps. The tide of battle had shifted completely. Captain Elias led the main assault on the alien command center. Mara's team was tasked with disabling communication arrays, while Jax Moreno coordinated drones that harassed alien reinforcements, forcing them into confusion and delay. Each movement was precise, planned, and executed with human ingenuity. As humans reached the command center, resistance was fierce. Elite alien soldiers blocked corridors, their weapons advanced, their numbers intimidating. Yet humans fought not just with weapons but with intelligence and courage. They used the environment to their advantage. Collapsed walls, tunnels, and abandoned machinery became shields and weapons. Small squads worked in perfect coordination, distracting, flanking, and disabling the alien defenses. Inside the central command hall, Elias and his team breached the main chamber. The alien commander, a towering figure with advanced armor and a stern presence, turned to face them. "You are insignificant," the alien said, its voice a mixture of disbelief and authority. "Your species is weak. You cannot hope to succeed." Elias stepped forward, his voice steady and calm. "We may be small, but humans are not weak. We endure, we adapt, and we rise. You have underestimated us, and that is your mistake." With a sudden surge, humans engaged the alien commander's guards using traps, flanking maneuvers, and quick coordination. Each move disrupted the aliens' expectations. They were powerful but predictable. Humans were unpredictable, and that gave them the advantage. The commander, realizing the scale and precision of the assault, faltered for the first time in its life. Outside, alien reinforcements struggled to reach the center. Communications were jammed, supply lines disrupted, and morale broken. The alien forces had relied on fear, numbers, and technology, but humans had turned every expectation against them. For every drone sent to attack, there was a human countermeasure. For every patrol, there was a clever ambush. The aliens' laughter had long since faded, replaced by confusion and fear. Back at the communication arrays, Mara's team disabled the final energy nodes, cutting off remaining coordination. Drones under Jax's control swooped through the battlefield, guiding human squads and intercepting alien movements. Humans moved like shadows, striking where the enemy was weakest, vanishing before retaliation could be organized. In the heart of the command center, Elias faced the alien commander alone. Weapons drawn, minds sharp, both knew that this confrontation could decide the fate of ViewRship. The alien lunged, relying on superior strength and advanced tech. But Elias used agility, tactics, and observation. Each move was precise, each counter calculated. Humans were small, but their adaptability was unmatched. With one decisive maneuver, Elias disarmed the commander and forced a surrender. Alien forces outside, seeing their leader falter and communication disrupted, began to retreat. The human squads held firm, ensuring no escape. Victory, hard-won and unassailable, was at hand. Captain Elias lowered his weapon, breathing heavily but steady. "Humans endure," he said to the alien commander. "We rise from the smoke, and that is something no one can destroy." Outside, humans poured into the open plains, reclaiming territory. Survivors cheered, tears of relief and joy mixing with exhaustion. Supply lines were restored, the wounded attended to, and prisoners freed. The once mocked humans had demonstrated ingenuity, bravery, and teamwork, proving that spirit and courage could triumph even against overwhelming odds. Mara approached Elias, smiling despite fatigue.
"Captain, we did it."
"They're retreating. They'll think twice before underestimating humans again." Elias nodded, looking over the battlefield. "Yes, and this is just the beginning. Humans survive, humans fight, and humans rise. The galaxy will remember today, not because of technology, but because of courage, unity, and unyielding spirit." Jax Moreno, eyes wide with awe, added quietly, "We really did it, against all odds," Elias smiled. "And we will continue to do it. Every day and every challenge. Humans do not break. We adapt, we endure, and we rise." The alien forces, once laughing in triumph, now fled in disarray. They had underestimated humans at every turn. They had mocked their survival and resilience. And now, from the smoke and ruins, humans had risen, not only victorious in battle but in spirit. As the last alien ships departed the atmosphere of ViewRship, the human survivors gathered in the central plains. Smoke still lingered, but it was no longer a symbol of defeat. It was a testament to survival, ingenuity, and courage. Captain Elias Vance stood among his people, looking at the faces of those who had fought, bled, and endured. Every survivor, every freed prisoner, every young scout represented hope, resilience, and triumph. "We rise from smoke," Elias declared, his voice strong and unwavering. "We survive the impossible. We fight when there is no hope. And we endure. Today, humanity has proven that no challenge is too great, no enemy too strong. We are human, and humans never give up." The survivors cheered, their voices rising above the ruined landscape. Children who had hidden in tunnels laughed. Soldiers who had feared defeat embraced, and even the wounded stood taller, inspired by what they had achieved. Humans had done more than survive. They had claimed victory, proving that courage, ingenuity, and unity were forces stronger than any weapon. Mara turned to Elias. "Do you think they'll return?" Elias considered the question, eyes on the horizon where alien ships still drifted in retreat. "Perhaps," he said, "but they will never underestimate us again. And we will be ready. Humans rise from smoke. We endure, we adapt, we fight, and we survive. That is who we are." The sun rose fully over ViewRship, casting golden light over ruins, forests, and plains. Smoke curled into the sky, but it no longer represented despair. It was proof of victory, resilience, and the unyielding human spirit. From the shadows and ashes, humans had risen. They had challenged the strongest force in the galaxy and had won, not through superior technology but through courage, unity, and determination. Captain Elias Vance looked at his people, his heart full of pride. "We laughed in the face of fear. We rose from the impossible and we reclaimed our world. The galaxy will remember this day. Humanity has proven that we are not to be underestimated. We endure, we fight, and we rise." And in that moment, the smoke cleared, revealing a new world. A world shaped by human courage, ingenuity, and an unbreakable spirit. The humans of ViewRship had risen, and their triumph would echo across the stars.